Good.
Good morning.
What are you drinking today? That looks dark and muddy.
Also nasty.
Is that
It's
some?
it's just coffee without anything on it, like no sugar, no creamer, no Nescafe.
That's not Filipino mud water, is it?
Yeah. Well, I would prefer this because that one is actually nasty. How
I
about
went,
yours?
I went down to my local creek and picked up some of this stuff right out of the right out of the stream.
Why does your Filipino inner Filipino sounds like a Western American? It's
Other
like,
man,
dang man, son.
I was I was down there at this tropical creek getting myself some malaria and some of this here mud water. It was delicious.
Oh my
Mm.
god.
The parasites aid in the digestion of my inner bowels. Don't air don't, don't air this in the Philippines. People will be like, "What the hell? That guy does have some Filipino accent."
I'm still gonna laugh because why is your inner Filipinos someone in the backyard is the backwater of
I'll tell you what about this here in the Philippines. It's hot as the dickens. It is so hot here. I mean, you could fry an egg on the sidewalk, dude. Actually, in
Jeez.
all seriousness, one of our clients who we're going to be working for this week should be arriving in Manila soon. I'm gonna give you their phone number. I talked to them last night, and I was
Mhm.
yo, um, my guy lives in the Philippines. I said, you guys should at least text each other for some information. It would be awesome if you could meet them for lunch. How weird would it be? You get to meet one of our clients. They're gonna
That's
be there.
awesome. I mean,
They're gonna be there for like 10 days. They're flying. They'll be in Manila. They're going to Boracay, maybe is that a place?
Boracay, yeah.
Uh-huh. And then they'll be back in Manila for a while. So yeah, you might be able to get to link up with them. I remind me after this podcast.
Mhm,
Remind me about
mhm,
after this here Crickwater Filipino podcast. Then I'll
mhm.
give you some information about my homeland in Manila.
You got the accent good.
Yeah, sound just like it. Um, yeah. Anyways, I had to home make espresso or an americano today because my machine is down, or it's not down. I'm out of the
Mm,
stuff. I'm out of the pods, which I always order. Usually when I get to the last box, I order this package that comes out kind of like once or twice a month. But every time I get down to like my last box of like 8 cups of coffee, I order the next one because it usually comes within 2 days. Well, I messed up, and I'm not.
that's fast.
I already went through it over the weekend, and now I'm down to like I had to get creative today. I had to use espresso shots and hot water and make myself an americano, which it's actually really
Uh,
good. So what's
it's a pick me upper.
yeah, here in the Philippines, we like to drink American.
Yeah, Americans only a drink here, so we drink them hot, straight, and directly from the back order, mud water.
Yeah, we get them right from the creek water right there, mud water. All right.
Oh my gosh.
In all seriousness, welcome to Backwater Mud with Kahuna and we're having fun today.
Oh yeah.
What are we talking about today? You said you had a subject you wanted to talk about real.
Yeah, we have a couple of topics, but this is one of like the one that caught my eye. Topic is the most common lies homeowners tell themselves. Reason why this one resonate with me is I'm on the receiving end on this one. It I just gonna you know, just gonna, you know, just gonna tell one story about it. Uh, it took me a while to realize this is going for all service, just not painting. It took me a while to realize that you really need to have somebody professionally clean your split type air conditioning, the long ones. So you really have to have someone professionally do that. And then there are options around that show. I'm just gonna say this in Filipino peso because that's what I remember. Some of them cost like 2,500, some cost 2,000, and then I saw like 1,250 per unit for cleaning.
Okay.
And my cheap ass self actually took the 1,250, and then it was the worst experience that I had. I kept telling myself it's gonna be quick, it's gonna be okay. I think 1,250 pesos is a fair price just to clean a split type air conditioning. So I waited because the agreed time was like 3 days from today, just to set an example. So I waited like 2 weeks because I don't know what they do with their cell phones, but it just keeps on ringing and they don't really pick up. They sent a message like, "Yeah, we'll come today," but they didn't come today. So it was an on and off for like 2 weeks. Nobody's responding like properly. When they came here, it's like they own the place. They basically storm inside of the house, guns blazing, open the door, and then comes up and then, just cleans everything without warning me to put tarp on, electronics. So I had to do that myself, like really rush because they mentioned they have another schedule next. And then I had to adjust to them basically. And then they didn't explain anything. They just sprayed water and then that's it. And I had to pay like 1,250 pesos. After that, the air conditioning still smells so bad and didn't work properly that I really had to take the other service, which is the higher price, which is they gave me a secure slot in their day. They communicated well with me. When they were here, they mentioned everything that I need to do. Even before when they came into the house, they tell me what to do. Once they're here, they explain to me on I don't know what happened, but it was like explaining each and every part of the air conditioning, what problems, what this needs to be, and the regular maintenance, and then it's a much different experience. So why am I telling this? It's I keep telling myself go with the lower price because it's the same, and then I'll save money when I do this. But in the end, I basically just got charged twice or even more, and then I should have gone in that higher price in the first place. So
Okay. Pretty common. I mean, okay, let's talk about like a car, right? So you could get you can get a little Honda, uh, a luxury Mercedes Benz or a Ferrari, and they're all cars. They all have four wheels. They all um, essentially will get you A to B, but there's a different value add in each version of that vehicle that you spend more money on. I think it's like that with if you're asking about home services, this is very true in home services. That company that did it very cheaply, if you notice, because they didn't have good margins on their service, they had to rush you, and they probably had to rush 10 other services that day so that they could actually make some money. That model exists everywhere. I mean, there's the cheap version of everything. You can go to a dollar store and buy a pan for your kitchen, or you can spend $1,000 on a pan for your kitchen. I think because pricing is so subjective, that you have to be careful, and I think you have to just do research. And I fought against this for a long time as a home services owner, as a contractor. It's very difficult to beat that culture of
yeah.
because so many people will take the cheapest option not understanding what that means, you might get lucky. You might have took the cheapest option and got lucky, right? Like you might have been
Mm.
like, oh, I'm gonna do the cheap one, and you get a great job, and good for, and maybe that company's new. I know 10 years after starting a home services business, that our prices are certainly different than they were 10 years ago, and part of that is the added expense of insurance, of vehicles, of all the things that benefits for employees, like all the things that yeah, so there's, you pay for what you get in essence,
Yes.
and sometimes if you go back and you have to pay for something twice because you thought the cheap option would be the best, would be, if you thought you were comparing apples to apples, then yeah, sometimes you get bit. A lot of times you get bit. Actually, people think I'm crazy, but the services that I get regularly from people, like the person who cuts my hair, I overpay them. I overpay the people who do things for me regularly, who I have relationships with, because I want them to do a great job. So, and I want them to come and bail me out. Like if I need a plow, I have a plow contractor. When I call him, he's here in 10 minutes. Like
Yeah.
I might not have seen the guy for a year because he knows I'm going to pay him right away. I'm going to give him whatever he wants. So yeah, I think you have to judge that for yourself. But I think what happened to you happens to a lot of people. It's very common. I'm not saying don't always choose the cheapest option. Sometimes it might work for you. Sometimes it might be the only thing you can afford. But oftentimes especially with home services, especially with anything like, what do they say? Don't expect champagne on a beer budget. So if you have, if you can only afford a glass of beer, have a glass of beer. You're not gonna have you're not gonna get the 10-year-old vintage beautiful bottle of wine for the price of a glass of beer.
Yeah,
So,
with excess yeast that you have to open it upside down in the water.
yeah.
That costs a lot, by the way.
So yeah, that's good. That's a good question. And I hope that I answered it well for you.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah.
So, all
And
right. On that note,
I'll-
let's have some mud water out of the creek back in the old back in my old Bora Cave village over here. I gotta go back down to the fishing village.
now that you mentioned it's mud water, I think I don't want to drink it anymore because it really looks like one. If I
Sometimes
it gets edited out.
sometimes I go all the way up to the mountains and get clean water coming off the stream, pissing off the side of the mountain like golden sunshine. I sound like if Matthew McConaughey ended up in the Philippines. I was down there in Palawan, just kind of snorkeling through the fjords, and I was thinking to myself,
all right.
all right, this is real nice. Life is like a stream in the Philippines, you never know what you're gonna see, and you better watch
Never
it.
know. You never know where you're gonna end.
All right.
Oh,
Well, that was fun. Coffee with Kahuna, over and out. Cheers.
Peace. Have a great day, guys.